Most people never attract the life they want because they are weak in the places that matter most. Weak in discipline. Weak in patience. Weak in emotional control. Weak in silence. Weak in consistency. They want success, but cannot control their impulses. They want respect, but seek validation from everyone. They want peace, but feed their minds with chaos every single day. And then they wonder why life never changes. The Stoics understood something dangerous. Your outer world reflects your inner condition. If your mind is weak, your life eventually becomes weak. If your habits are chaotic, your future becomes chaotic. If your emotions control you, your decisions destroy you. That is why most people never manifest the life they dream about. Because manifestation without discipline becomes fantasy. You cannot think your way into greatness while living with weak habits. You cannot attract peace while feeding anxiety daily. You cannot attract respect while abandoning your own standards. Everything begins inside. Your thoughts. Your discipline. Your emotional control. Your mindset. Your habits. That is where transformation starts. And the brutal truth is this. Life responds differently when you become mentally strong. Opportunities begin appearing differently. People begin treating you differently. Your energy changes. Your decisions improve. Your confidence becomes real. Not because the universe magically changed, but because you changed first. In this video, you will learn 10 brutal Stoic rules that can completely transform your life if you actually apply them. These lessons are not comfortable. They are not soft. They require discipline, patience, self-awareness, and emotional strength. But if you master them, everything begins moving toward you naturally. Respect, peace, clarity, confidence, opportunities, power. Not because you chased desperately, but because you became the kind of person capable of holding them. Subscribe to the channel. Because this channel is for people building strong minds, emotional discipline, and a mindset that cannot be easily broken. Now listen carefully. Rule 1. Control your emotions before they control your life. This is where real power begins. Most people are emotionally reactive. One bad moment destroys their entire day. One insult controls their mood. One rejection breaks their confidence. One setback makes them quit. And because they lack emotional discipline, life controls them completely. The Stoics believe that the highest form of strength is self-mastery. Not controlling other people. Not controlling the world. Controlling yourself. Your anger. Your fear. Your impulses. Your reactions. Because the person who cannot control themselves becomes a slave to circumstances. Think carefully about how many lives are destroyed by temporary emotions. People ruin relationships because of anger. Destroy opportunities because of pride. Make terrible decisions because of fear. Waste years because of emotional impulsiveness. And afterward they regret actions that lasted only seconds. That is weakness. Stoicism teaches something different. Observe emotions without instantly obeying them. Feel anger without becoming controlled by anger. Feel fear without surrendering to fear. Feel pain without collapsing mentally. That is emotional discipline. And emotional discipline changes everything. Because now your decisions improve. Your relationships improve. Your confidence improves. Your entire life becomes more stable. Most people chase external success while ignoring internal chaos. But internal chaos eventually destroys external success. That is why many successful people still feel miserable. Because achievement without emotional mastery creates instability. The Stoics trained their minds daily because they understood this deeply. A disciplined mind attracts better outcomes naturally. Not through magic. Through clarity. Think about it. Emotionally disciplined people speak carefully. Act carefully. Choose wisely. Remain calm during pressure. And because of that, they create better lives over time. Meanwhile, emotionally impulsive people constantly sabotage themselves. They overreact. Overthink. Overshare. Overcommit. And slowly destroy opportunities through lack of self-control. This is why controlling your emotions is one of the greatest forms of manifestation. Because your emotional state shapes your actions. And your actions shape your future. The moment you stop reacting emotionally to everything, you become dangerous. You stop chasing attention. Stop begging for validation. Stop making desperate decisions. And life starts responding differently to you. People respect emotional stability. Opportunities flow toward emotional stability. Peace grows through emotional stability. Most people never reach this level because they are addicted to emotional chaos. They constantly need drama, conflict, attention, validation, noise. But Stoicism teaches calmness, stillness, clarity. That is real strength. And once your mind becomes calm, your life becomes clearer. Rule 2. Stop chasing everything desperately. This rule alone changes energy completely. Most people repel what they want because they chase it with desperation. Desperation for love. Desperation for money. Desperation for success. Desperation for attention. And desperation destroys attraction. The Stoics believed attachment creates suffering. Because attached people become emotionally dependent on outcomes. If they get rejected, they collapse. If things delay, they panic. If life becomes uncertain, they lose peace instantly. But emotionally disciplined people move differently. They work hard. Stay focused. Stay patient. But they do not emotionally beg life for results. That mindset creates calm confidence. And confidence changes how people respond to you. Look carefully at life. People naturally move toward calm energy. Not desperate energy. Desperation feels heavy, needy, unstable. And instability pushes opportunities away. Many people ruin relationships because they chase too aggressively. They force conversations, force connections, force attention, and eventually exhaust the other person emotionally. But real connection flows naturally. The same applies to success. People desperately chase shortcuts because they fear slow progress. And that desperation leads them into poor decisions. Scams. Bad opportunities. Fake lifestyles. Weak discipline. The Stoics understood patience better than most people alive today. They knew life rewards consistency more than desperation. Because desperation clouds judgment. Patience strengthens judgment. And judgment determines direction. You must understand this deeply. Everything valuable grows slowly. Strong bodies. Strong minds. Strong businesses. Strong relationships. Strong character. None of these things develop overnight. Yet modern society teaches people to expect instant results. Instant wealth. Instant transformation. Instant recognition. And because of that, people lose discipline quickly. But Stoicism teaches detachment from immediate outcomes. Focus on effort. Focus on growth. Focus on discipline. Then allow results to arrive naturally over time. This mindset removes pressure. And pressure often blocks clarity. Think carefully. Some of the best opportunities in life appeared when you stopped forcing things. When you relaxed internally. When you focused on yourself. When you stopped chasing desperately. That is not coincidence. Calmness creates better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. The Stoics understood this long ago. And this does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming emotionally balanced. Work hard. Build yourself. Improve daily. But stop emotionally clinging to immediate results. Because desperate energy creates suffering. And suffering destroys peace. Rule 3. Protect your mind from negativity. Most people poison their own minds daily and then wonder why their lives feel heavy. They consume negativity constantly. Negative conversations. Negative media. Negative people. Negative environments. And over time their mindset becomes dark without them even noticing. The Stoics guarded their minds carefully. Because they understood the mind absorbs whatever it repeatedly consumes. Your environment shapes your thinking. Your thinking shapes your actions. Your actions shape your future. That is why protecting your mind matters deeply. Think carefully about how many people spend hours feeding themselves fear every day. Scrolling endlessly. Comparing themselves endlessly. Watching conflict endlessly. Listening to negativity endlessly. And then expecting inner peace afterward. It is impossible. The mind becomes what it repeatedly practices. If you practice anxiety daily, your mind becomes anxious. If you practice anger daily, your mind becomes angry. If you practice discipline daily, your mind becomes disciplined. This is why Stoicism emphasizes awareness. Awareness of what enters your mind. Awareness of your habits. Awareness of your emotional triggers. Because awareness creates control. And control creates peace. Most people live unconsciously. They absorb everything around them without filtering it. And eventually their thoughts become polluted by noise. The Stoics would never allow endless distractions to dominate their minds. Because distraction weakens clarity. And clarity is power. Strong people protect their attention carefully. They understand attention is energy. And where attention goes, life follows. That means if your attention constantly focuses on fear, your life begins feeling fearful. If your attention constantly focuses on lack, your life begins feeling empty. If your attention constantly focuses on growth, your life begins changing positively. This is why your environment matters more than people realize. The people around you influence your standards. Influence your thinking. Influence your confidence. Influence your discipline. Spend enough time around negativity and eventually your mindset weakens. Spend enough time around disciplined people and your standards rise naturally. The Stoics understood this deeply. That is why they valued solitude when necessary. Not loneliness. Intentional separation from chaos. Because silence strengthens awareness. And awareness strengthens wisdom. Protect your mind carefully. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every opinion deserves attention. Not every conversation deserves emotional investment. Your peace depends on what you allow into your mind daily. And once you protect your mind consistently, everything changes internally first. Then life begins changing externally afterward. Rule 4. Master silence. This rule is dangerous because very few people understand its power. Most people talk too much. They announce every plan, every goal, every emotion, every success, every frustration. And because of that, they leak energy constantly. The Stoics respected silence deeply. Because silence creates observation. And observation creates wisdom. Weak people speak impulsively. Strong people observe carefully before speaking. Think about how many problems people create through unnecessary words. They reveal too much too early. React emotionally during arguments. Expose their weaknesses to people who secretly dislike them. Seek validation through constant talking. And eventually regret things they never needed to say. Stoicism teaches restraint. Not because silence makes you passive, but because silence gives you control. A calm person who speaks carefully appears powerful immediately. Because emotional control is rare. Most people cannot sit in silence comfortably. They need constant noise, constant attention, constant validation. But silence strengthens the mind. Silence improves awareness. Silence allows you to see people clearly. Many people expose themselves simply by talking too much. Their insecurities, their jealousy, their dishonesty, their ego. You can learn more through observation than through endless speaking. That is why disciplined people listen more than they talk. Because listening reveals truth. Talking often hides it. And understand this clearly. Not every battle deserves your response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves emotional reaction. Emotionally weak people react to everything. Emotionally disciplined people choose carefully where to place energy. That difference changes everything. The Stoics believed peace comes from internal control. And silence strengthens internal control. Think carefully about the strongest people you know. They usually move quietly, calmly, without constant need for attention. They do not announce every move online. Do not seek applause constantly. Do not overshare every emotion. Because confidence does not need constant validation. Insecure people seek attention repeatedly because they need external confirmation to feel important. But truly disciplined people gain confidence internally. That is why they move differently. Silence also protects goals. Many people destroy momentum by speaking too early. They talk about plans more than they work on them. Talk creates temporary satisfaction. Action creates real transformation. The Stoics focused on action. Not performance. Not appearances. Action. And life rewards action far more than empty words. There is another reason silence matters. Silence protects peace. Arguments drain energy. Drama drains energy. Defending yourself constantly drains energy. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every critic deserves explanation. Sometimes silence is the highest form of strength. Because silence shows emotional control. Anyone can explode emotionally. Few people can remain calm under pressure. That is discipline. That is power. And once you master silence, you begin seeing life differently. People differently. Yourself differently. Because silence sharpens awareness. And awareness sharpens wisdom. Rule 5. Become comfortable being alone. This is one of the hardest lessons for modern people. Most people are terrified of solitude. Terrified of sitting alone with their own thoughts. So they constantly distract themselves. Through relationships. Entertainment. Social media. Noise. Attention. Anything to avoid facing themselves deeply. But the Stoics valued solitude because solitude reveals truth. When you are alone, distractions disappear. Masks disappear. Noise disappears. And eventually you meet yourself honestly. That is uncomfortable for many people. Because many people build identities around external validation. Without attention, they feel empty. Without constant interaction, they feel anxious. Without noise, they feel lost internally. But emotionally strong people develop comfort within themselves first. That changes everything. Because now they no longer depend on people emotionally for stability. They appreciate relationships. But they do not emotionally collapse without constant validation. That is freedom. Think carefully. People who fear being alone often tolerate unhealthy situations. Toxic relationships. Disrespect. Manipulation. Inconsistency. Why? Because loneliness scares them more than suffering. So they stay attached to people who slowly destroy their peace. The Stoics rejected emotional dependency completely. Not because relationships are bad. But because dependency creates weakness. And weakness creates suffering. You must become emotionally complete within yourself first. Otherwise you will constantly seek other people to fill internal emptiness. And no person can permanently fix what you refuse to heal internally. Solitude teaches self-awareness. It teaches emotional independence. It teaches discipline. Many people discover their greatest ideas during silence. Their clearest thinking during solitude. Because constant noise blocks reflection. And reflection creates wisdom. The Stoics regularly spent time alone to strengthen their minds. Not escaping life. Preparing for life. That is the difference. Modern people avoid solitude because silence forces self-confrontation. You begin noticing unhealthy habits. Emotional wounds. Weak discipline. Hidden fears. And many people would rather distract themselves than improve themselves. But disciplined people choose growth over distraction. And growth requires honesty. That honesty changes your life. Once you become comfortable alone, desperation disappears. You stop begging for attention. Stop forcing relationships. Stop fearing rejection excessively. Because your peace no longer depends on constant external presence. That confidence becomes visible immediately. People can sense emotional independence. And emotional independence creates calm energy. Calm energy attracts respect naturally. The Stoics understood this deeply. That is why they train themselves to remain emotionally stable whether surrounded by people or completely alone. Because true peace comes from within, not from constant external stimulation. And once you master solitude, your standards rise naturally. You stop tolerating chaos. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop sacrificing peace for temporary company. Because now you understand your own value deeply. Rule 6. Detach from outcomes. This rule changes anxiety completely. Most people suffer because they are emotionally attached to specific outcomes. They need things to happen exactly their way. Exactly on their timeline. Exactly according to their expectations. And when life changes unexpectedly, they collapse emotionally. The Stoics understood something powerful. You control effort, not outcomes. You control discipline, not guarantees. You control action, not every result. That realization creates emotional freedom. Because now your peace no longer depends entirely on external events. Most anxiety comes from trying to mentally control the future. People replay possibilities endlessly. Imagine worst-case scenarios endlessly. Fear rejection endlessly. Fear failure endlessly. And their minds become exhausted. But Stoicism teaches focus on the present moment. Focus on action. Focus on what can actually be controlled now. That mindset creates peace. Think carefully about athletes, business owners, leaders. The strongest performers focus on preparation more than panic. Because panic weakens performance. Clarity strengthens performance. And clarity comes through emotional detachment. This does not mean becoming careless. It means avoiding emotional slavery to outcomes. Work hard. Prepare carefully. Give your best effort. But stop emotionally collapsing every time life becomes uncertain. Because uncertainty is part of life. No human escapes uncertainty. Not rich people. Not successful people. Not powerful people. Everyone faces unpredictability. The Stoics accepted this reality instead of resisting it emotionally. And acceptance creates resilience. Many people destroy opportunities because fear controls them. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of rejection. Fear of loss. But emotionally disciplined people continue moving despite uncertainty. That is courage. Not absence of fear. Action despite fear. Most people wait until they feel completely confident before acting. But confidence often appears after action, not before it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Progress creates confidence. Discipline creates confidence. Experience creates confidence. Not endless overthinking. And understand this clearly. Some outcomes will disappoint you no matter how disciplined you are. Some people will leave. Some plans will fail. Some opportunities will disappear. That is life. But no external event has the power to destroy your inner stability unless you surrender mentally first. That is Stoic power. To remain calm during uncertainty. To remain steady during setbacks. To remain disciplined even when life becomes unpredictable. Because emotionally stable people recover faster. Adapt faster. Grow faster. And eventually attract better opportunities through resilience alone. Life respects resilience. Most people quit too early because they attach identity to temporary outcomes. One failure makes them feel worthless. One rejection makes them feel unwanted. One setback makes them abandon growth completely. But disciplined people think differently. They understand failure is feedback. Pain is training. Difficulty is preparation. And that mindset transforms suffering into strength. Detach from outcomes. Focus on growth. Focus on discipline. Focus on becoming stronger internally. Because once your inner world becomes stable, external success becomes easier to handle wisely. Subscribe to the channel. Because this channel is for people building mental toughness, emotional mastery, and the discipline needed to create a powerful life.